All right, perfect. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming back after lunch. It was good today, yeah? Really delicious. I know. They know how to keep us here by providing really wonderful food. My name is Robbie Shapira. I use he, him pronouns. I lead diverse small business and women-owned business at Wells Fargo nationwide. It basically means how do we help ethnically diverse, in particular, entrepreneurs get more access to capital? How do we partner with national organizations? How do we make it easier to open a bank account? Because how many have opened a bank account for your business? Keep your hands up if it was easy. Muy fácil? No. Increíble difícil? Yeah, and it's even harder in the United States if your first language is not English. And so one of the projects my team takes on is simply that kind of work. Like, how do we become a more welcoming financial institution to entrepreneurs in every single way? I'm proud. I've been at Wells Fargo 26 years. I started when I was muy joven. And the work that my team does includes the opportunity to help entrepreneurs gain knowledge. I'm excited for today's session with Jeff Hoffman. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. I am the proud husband to a Navy veteran who just retired after 20 years. He's also a Mexican immigrant. And so I personally get the opportunity to watch someone from another country make their way in the country that I was born. And I'm really proud of him. He actually just got into Columbia University and is going to use the GI Bill to go to school. Yeah. So we'll be moving to New York, which is pretty cool. At Wells Fargo, just to tell you a little bit about us, we serve 3 million business owners across the United States. We estimate about half of them are ethnically diverse and about 40% are women. If I were to give you 2 things to know about Wells Fargo in the diverse small business world, the first is, if you were at the panel I spoke on yesterday, we launched a tool to help business owners get access to capital in the United States called bizresourcenavigator.com. It is a way to connect with CDFIs, a network of CDFIs across the country. So if you know businesses who are looking for CDFI capital, bizresourcenavigator.com. The other thing, if you want a fun thing to Google, if you are a women-owned business, or you are a supporter of women-owned business, which is all of us, check out, we publish a report every year. This year was the first. We were already ready to publish or working to publish next year, called the Impact of Women-Owned Business Report. So you can Google it, the Impact of Women-Owned Business Report. It speaks to things like what I just shared, that there are 40% of all businesses are women-owned, and that they employ 12 million people in the United States, and they generate $2.7 trillion in revenue. So thank you for being fans and supporters of women-owned business. It is really important to help women, especially in the financial world, feel like we are here to support them. I consider myself what's called a he for she. It's a WeBank term. It just means a man who supports and stands behind women-owned business. But let me tell you about today's session. So we have the illustrious Jeff Hoffman, who you probably already know is the chair of the board of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, so a true celebrity at the conference. Excited to hear his next masterclass. If you don't know Jeff or a lot about his background, he is an entrepreneur, and so he has lived this work. He is a speaker, a producer. You should ask him about the jazz album that he produced. But he's also the author of Scale, a book about how to grow your business, which we're going to hear a component of growing your business today. He's also the founding board member of Unreasonable Group. I love that name, Jeff. With operations in 185 countries that has raised over $4 billion in funding. But with no further ado, let me turn it over to Mr. Jeff Hoffman.
I feel like I'm about to give a commencement speech. My fellow graduates. But I'm not. What we're going to do instead is we're going to talk about brand today and how incredibly important that is. So before I get into this, I'm going to give you like 5 or 6 points on things you have to do to shape a brand, and I'm going to explain to you why it's so important to build a brand in the first place. A lot of people understand marketing, and they don't really understand branding. when I ask people about a brand, they think of some little slogan that they wrote, like the little tagline that's under the name of their company. That's not what a brand is. It's something much bigger than that, and it's something much more important than that. So besides just telling you about the brand, what I'm doing today, by the way, is I'm sharing lessons from our own companies. Early on in the internet, before we had Booking.com, when we were just Priceline.com, but we at one point were the second most recognized brand name on the entire internet. And we feel like that's because we did some things that we're about to show you. Okay, but you're also going to see lessons in here from other people's brands. So I have always, my entire business life, anytime I've been around people and companies that have achieved things I wanted to achieve, I've always made it a point to ask a lot of questions, right? Try to figure out, what did these people do that made it work? So now I get the pleasure at this point in my life of looking backwards and telling you this is the stuff that worked, right? And these are the companies, these are the reasons these companies succeeded. One more thing before I jump in, which is that the period of your business life that I'm talking about is the rapid growth. If you're already a big company, this doesn't apply. But the question we're answering is, small companies that hit that hyper growth, that took off and suddenly went viral and became really big, what are the things they did to achieve that? So if your goal is not to grow really big, you don't have to listen to this. If your goal is to hit that massive growth, right? We had started companies that we started on a table and they turned into multi-billion-dollar global companies because there was a point at which we hit this acceleration. That's what I'm sharing with you. How to go from small to big, what you have to do. So here is the first lesson for achieving that explosive growth and creating a brand that can go global. The first lesson is this, and that is to win a gold medal at one thing. Let me explain that to you. There's a lot of advice out there in the world right now of the people that, for example, people will tell you, you should have multiple revenue streams, right? Multiple sources of income. Okay, that's all great if you want to live a nice life, right? If you own 3 businesses or you're selling a bunch of different things, you can make a nice living and have a nice life. That's not the question I'm answering. I'm not answering how do you get a nice life. I'm answering how do you create a billion-dollar company, right? And so that is a different type of thinking than the people that are just trying to live a nice life. So a lot of times when people come to me and say, can you help my company grow? The first thing I have to do is shrink your company. And the reason for that is the key to success is not, in fact, having 4 different products and trying to be all things to all people. The companies that achieve that rapid growth by winning a gold medal. I'll explain why I use that term in one thing. So I'm going to tell you the story, the place where I really learned this. At the beginning of the internet, there were not a lot of us building internet companies, so we talked all the time. The internet was new, and there was a handful of us. And I used to talk to these 2 guys, Jeff and Pierre. They were creating something called eBay. There was this other guy named Jeff. He was creating this thing called Amazon. Actually, it was funny because I was doing a media interview, and they said, what is the key to success in the internet business? And I said, I think you just have to be named Jeff because it's working out pretty well for all of the Jeffs right now. Jeff created eBay. This Jeff created Amazon. We were on a roll with Priceline at this time. But here's what happened. One day I'm talking to Bezos, and what people forget is for 6 years, you could only buy books, nothing else. When I talked to Jeff at the time, he said, Jeff, one day Amazon will be the marketplace of everything, but he said, first, I want to be the best damn bookseller on the planet, okay? And I took that to heart. I said, why books? And he said, because he didn't use these words, that's my gold medal product. He said, books are the thing I know everything about and I can crush that, okay? So the lesson I'm already going to tell you is, instead of trying to sell everything to everybody, what you should be doing is picking your gold medal product. I'll give you an example in a minute. What is the product you know is your best thing? And stop trying to, instead of dividing yourself among 4 products, and now your marketing budget is divided by 4, your team is divided by 4, your thought process is divided by 4, and you're not really good at 3 of those things. You know in your heart the product or service that is your gold medal and focusing on that. So this was a friend, Tony Shea. If you don't know Tony, this was his company. You guys know this company? So Tony built Zappos. You know what Tony said to me? I said, what are you going to do? He said, one day, he said, I will sell handbags. His audience was primarily women at the beginning, and earrings to accessorize. He said, but right now I need to be the best damn shoe seller on the planet. So the companies that achieved the massive growth, when I met the founder of Nike, you know what he did? He only sold shoes. Did he want to sell clothing? Yes. Every story, you might be able to have 4 products and achieve the success of these giant companies, but I can't find it. Everybody that did that had a gold medal product, and they went all in on that product. I'll tell you how that influenced us. We, at the beginning, we were selling vacations, cruises, hotel rooms, rental cars, all these things. But the message that Bezos, everybody told me, is be the best damn something on the planet. Quit trying to be. And the reason I use the gold medal analogy is because it's not 3 times harder to be really good at 3 things. It's 3 million times harder. And the reason I use that analogy is there is a reason that you have never seen an Olympic athlete win a gold medal in swimming, then win a gold medal in track and field, and then win a gold medal on the basketball team. It's not possible. It takes so much effort and focus to win a gold medal at any of those things that you're not going to win one. And more. Business is the same. What is your gold medal product? So we were selling vacations, cruises, hotel rooms. But I went back after talking to these guys, and I asked my own team, what's our gold medal product? Well, you know what the truth is? We do okay. We generate some revenue from cruises. It's not our gold medal. We're not cruise people. What about vacation planning? Not really. We're okay at that. We're average at it. Our gold medal is hotels. Nobody knows hotels better than us. You know in your heart what your gold medal product is. Get rid of everything else. When we got rid of, so that sounds counterintuitive. We're like, well, we're making some money on vacations and cruises. I said, right, but we're spending money on it. Let's take everybody off vacations and cruises. Let's shut that down and let's put everybody on hotels. Today, this company, the parent company is called Booking.com. Booking is the world's largest seller of hotel rooms. But here's the crazy part. For all those people that were telling me, that may be telling you, you need to be the one-stop shop, sell everything to everybody. You actually don't. You have that opportunity like Bezos did. Once he became, for 6 years, he only sold books, and then he became the best darn bookseller on the planet. Only then did he add additional products. But for us, this is a company that, I'm just telling you, you don't even have to add a second product. This is a company that started out as a little company selling only hotel rooms when we got rid of everything else, our gold medal. And today the company does probably $20 billion a year in revenue. It makes over $3 billion in net profit, and it only has one product. So for all the people that said you need to sell everything, no, you don't. It worked out pretty well by finding a gold medal product. So I want y'all to think about that. What is your gold medal product? Bet your money on the thing that you are best at, and the things that you know you're just okay at, get rid of them. You're not going to win in those spaces. All these companies that achieve this massive growth did so by picking a gold medal product and becoming the best at that. Along those same lines, I want you to figure out, I'm giving you guys homework today. That was your first assignment. I want you guys to figure out what is your gold medal talent. And let me explain that. There is something that you do really, really well that is, it's your secret sauce. It's the special thing about you. So when I heard this the first time, and these terms, gold medal, product, gold medal, those are my terms. I didn't hear those terms. I just made those up to help explain this stuff. But the first time I heard about the talent thing is because somebody came up to me and they said, so Jeff, you're a travel company, right? Because what do we sell? Hotel rooms. They said, you're a travel company. You guys are travel agents. I said, no. And they said, you're not a travel company. I said, not even a little bit. And they said, aren't you guys all travel agents? I said, no. And he said, then what are you? And I went back and I had a realization. My whole team, my specialty, we're algorithm developers. We're not actually travel agents. Our gold medal product is a hotel room. Our gold medal talent is algorithms. The reason that this company it now sells hotels in 200 countries and territories is because our algorithms are so smart that when we would first go to a hotel, and hotels every day are trying to optimize yield, right? I have 100 rooms. I'm trying to get the most money every night for all those rooms that I can. They're optimizing their per room revenue. And they have a team of people that does that. But our algorithms that we wrote, me and my team were all trained in algorithm development. Our algorithms, today you'd call them AI. That term wasn't a thing back then. Our algorithms were so smart, and our algorithms were assessing trends and competition and events in the area and real-time inventory. And by the time our algorithms were done, hotels were calling and saying, your system is way smarter than my entire company, all the people here, because your algorithms learn and they get better and they upgrade themselves and they figure out what's the optimal way to sell hotel rooms and maximize the revenue of your hotel. And hotels around the world started saying, just take our hotel and load it into your database because your algorithms are smarter than all of our people, right? So we're not a travel company. Our gold medal talent is algorithm development. Why is that important? Because that's your North Star. And what I mean by that is you're sitting around and somebody says, let's do this. Your question you should always ask is any new business opportunity you have, if it does not require you to use your gold medal talent, don't do it, okay? So somebody said, why don't you guys sell luggage to travelers? You can make extra money. You know why? It doesn't take an AI algorithm to sell you a suitcase, so I'm not interested. You know why? Because I'm only going to be average selling you suitcases, but I'm going to crush hotels because of our intelligent algorithms. Your gold medal talent is your North Star, and if you're doing any product or service that doesn't require your gold medal talent, you shouldn't be doing that, okay? That's the North Star. By the way, I had this conversation with Bezos one day, and he didn't use my term gold medal, but Jeff Bezos said, you know what, that is our thing. And I said, what? And he said, our product, our gold medal product is books, but our gold medal talent is delivery. So think about it, guys. Who was the first company to experiment with drones? Amazon. Why? Because their gold medal talent is delivery. Who invented Amazon Prime? Who invented same-day delivery? If it doesn't, by the way, for a lot of you know this, that Amazon recently bought, in recent years, they bought Whole Foods, a grocery store. And I texted Jeff to ask him, why are you interested in groceries now? He said, not even a little bit. He said, Amazon's just going to be the company that figures out how to deliver food to people because no one's doing it well today. He doesn't care about groceries. He bought Whole Foods because he's going to solve delivery. He literally started a space company because they're going to figure out how to deliver payloads to space. If it doesn't require delivery, he's not interested. He's been very loyal to his gold medal talent. So the question is, what's yours? What is your gold medal talent? And stop doing stuff. I don't touch stuff that doesn't require algorithms. He doesn't touch stuff that doesn't need to be delivered, right? You start with a gold medal product. You can expand into other products, but only when you've won a gold medal in your space. And let me tell you what that looks like. You and I, at one point, started saying to each other, man, I love buying stuff from Amazon. And you'd say, it's only a book, but what an incredible company. I got exactly what I wanted. I got it the next day, blah, blah, blah. And so when you win a gold medal at something, you have a different problem, or excuse me, opportunity. Most of us have a push strategy. I add a new product and I push it out in the world, and I'm pushing you to buy it. He had a pull strategy. You and I reached out to Amazon and they said, can I please buy something else from you? Wouldn't you like to have that problem? You and I begged him to sell us something else. I love Amazon, but can I buy something that isn't books? He had a pull strategy. The world was saying, please sell me something else. We actually had that too, because people came to buy all their travel things, but we knew that we were only good at sophisticated things that required an algorithm because they were real-time dynamic pricing. So we stuck with hotels, and there were so many people in the world that needed a hotel that we didn't need to sell you anything else. So your options, when you win a gold medal, now everybody wants to do business with you. Then you have the choice. The Bezos choice is you bought a book from me, now I'm going to sell you 10 other things. The choice we made was you bought a hotel room from me, now I'm going to sell a hotel room to everybody in your family and everybody at your school and everybody in your city. You can go horizontal or vertical, but you get there by having a gold medal talent that delivers a gold medal product, and now everybody wants to do business with you. So shrink down, right? Back up, find your gold medal product, execute on your gold medal talent, and when you win a gold medal, everybody wants to do business with you. Then is when you expand out. Too many companies are expanding too soon and trying to be the one-stop shop and all things to all people. That's not how the multi-billion-dollar companies got there. They had a product and they drove it all the way home. So I want you to think about your gold medal talent as well. Now let's talk about the brand and shaping the brand and what a brand actually is. And here is why the brand is so important and why I think that you should, I just use this company because their brand is extremely strong, right? Everybody knows what their brand's about and how they deliver it. But here's what you need to learn. Marketing, I'll explain this. Marketing is linear and brand is exponential. And what do I mean by that? Marketing has a term CPM, cost per thousand. Marketing, so let's just say you have an online business, okay? By the way, everything I'm telling you today applies whether you're a B2C business or B2B. Nothing's different. I'll explain that as we go. So let's say you have a website and you sell some product. You sell these things, okay? So here's how marketing works. I spend money on marketing, right? Whether I'm buying Facebook ads or Google search terms or whatever it is. I'm spending money on advertising. And I spend money, and that money drives 10,000 people to my website. Of those 10,000 people, 1,000 of them engage. So first number was traffic. Excuse me. The second number is engagement. 1,000 people engage, which means they're clicking through and looking at stuff. 100 people buy something. So let's say I spent $5,000, and that $5,000 in marketing drove 10,000 visitors, 1,000 engagements, and 100 sales. And now I sit down with my team, and we say, let's get to 200 sales. So how do you get to 200 sales from 100? You double your marketing budget. If I double my marketing spend, now I drive... Sorry about that. I've had a scratchy throat. Now I drive 20,000 people to my website. Of those 20,000 people, thank you. I kind of wanted rum, but this will work. We're in Puerto Rico, for God's sake. So 20,000 people come to my website. If I double my budget, 2,000 of them engage and 200 people buy. That's linear. To drive more traffic, you have to keep spending more money. If you're in the B2B business, I had teams of people that went out and visited hotels. So my sales teams would go visit the manager of a hotel and try to talk them into signing up in the B2B world. So let's say we visit 30 hotels and 6 of them sign a contract. And now I want to double my sales and my revenue. So now I have to make 60 visits, which means I have to double my sales team. We have to go visit 60 customers to close 12 sales. That's all linear. To increase sales, you keep adding money. Brand is exponential, and I'm going to explain that. Brand is what drives customers to you without increasing your budget. And we'll tell you how in a minute. So sales, here is the tipping point. Sales process is outbound, everything we just described. It's me going out to customers to reach out to you to tell you should get a hotel from me, to tell you that you should buy a book from me. That's all outbound. And so at the beginning, guess what we're doing? We have 2 marketing efforts. We have a consumer effort where I'm running ads saying if you need a hotel room, come here and book it with us. And then I have a sales team that's going out to hotels and says, if you want to sell your hotel rooms, list them on our system. So those are 2 linear marketing efforts, and they're outbound. But an interesting thing happened one day, which is how I really, for me, realized this. I'm sitting in the office with my sales team, and the phone's ringing. And I answer the phone, and I said, hey, can I help you? And the guy says, this is XYZ Hotel Corp, right? I'm the VP revenue. And he said, where do I put my credit card? And I'm like, your credit card for what? He said, I want to sign up. I want to pay you. Take my money. And I'm like, whose customer are you? And I hit mute my sales team, and I was like, pull up the CRM. Whose customer is this? And my sales team was all saying it's none of our customer. So I go back on the phone, and I was like, whose customer are you? Who are you working with here? He said, nobody. Could you just please take my money? And I was like, you didn't talk to any of our salespeople. He said, Jeff, I've never spoken to anybody at your company. You didn't market me. I just want to sign up. Well, what happened was our company hit that rapid growth. The term we're looking for is sales velocity. How quickly are you closing new customers? We hit velocity the day we went from outbound sales to inbound. And you know what started happening after that day? My phone kept ringing. And people were calling and saying, hey, I want to sign up. People we never spent a dime on, we never marketed. The question is how? The answer is not marketing. The answer is brand. And I will show you that in a minute. It's because our brand was engaging people in the world, and they were hearing about us and calling up. When you no longer have to spend money on outbound sales and everybody is contacting you, that's when you hit the acceleration that all these companies that became big, giant companies, that's what they hit. Our whole life changed. You know what we did? We went back to our website and we put a registration on the homepage. And on the homepage, instead of click here to have a salesperson call you, or click here to watch a video that's going to try to convince you to sell, we had a button that said, click here to enter your credit card, basically. So there was an auto registration. And I would go to bed at night and I'd wake up in the morning and we'd have 10 new customers and I didn't talk to anybody. And so brand is what did that to us, because part of the story I haven't told you is the effort we were putting into our brand at that time. So that is why brand is so important. And now I'm going to kind of teach you how to do brand. This is actually one of the most valuable things I've ever learned in business. And I learned this, that the world's most successful companies have realized something everybody else doesn't. They realize that they are the answer to a question somebody is asking. I will give you the examples in a minute, but this is your next homework assignment. What question are you the answer to? So, the person that taught me this, really, I told you guys all the lessons I share with you, I learned from studying the businesses that achieved massive success and trying to figure out what they did. So at this point, I was with a guy named Fred Smith. He invented FedEx. So Fred's the creator of FedEx. Fred's the one who taught me that. And if you've never seen this, that was their original. This actually isn't original. That's why it's not in good shape. I found one of the original ads somewhere. What Fred's told me was, somewhere right now, some person is sitting in their office holding an important document and saying, how can I be absolutely positively sure this document's delivered tomorrow morning? So Fred said, I know what question they're asking. So his marketing campaign was, when it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. So my question to you is, what question is your customer asking that your brand is the answer to? And when you know the answer, when you know what the question is, you'll shape your whole brand to answer that. So our example was, I went home and I said, what question is my customer? Someone is sitting somewhere right now saying, how can I absolutely positively be sure this will be delivered tomorrow? What's mine? What's yours? So you know what mine was when we started asking this question? Mine was, I have two markets, right? The hotels and the consumers, the travelers. The hotel manager, when we started our company, by the way, we were originally auctioning off empty hotel rooms, if you guys don't know this, at Priceline. We had the name your own price thing. So our business model was, a hotel has 100 rooms, but they never sell more than 90, right? And we can prove it. We had 10 years worth of data. So every night you have 10 empty hotel rooms. So a hotel manager is sitting and his boss is saying, why aren't we hitting 100% utilization? And so the hotel manager has tried everything he can in sales and just can't get past 90% occupancy. So that hotel manager is sitting there saying, is there any way to get rid of these empty hotel rooms? I didn't think about it that way until I learned this lesson from the FedEx guy. So I went home and my team and I sat down and we said, what question are we the answer to? Well, we're the answer to this question. Is there any way to get rid of these empty hotel rooms? So we changed our ad campaign to the hotels to say, we can sell all of your empty hotel rooms right now. And that is what causes your brand message to exist in the world ahead of you. By the way, on the consumer side, what we realized, because remember, we were the name your own price company if you don't know how we started. And so we knew exactly what question we were the answer to. Somebody wants to go to Panama City for spring break, but the hotels are $200 and they only have $60. So that person is saying, is there any way I could get a hotel room in Panama City for $60? Once we knew the question, we crafted our brand to answer it. So instead of an ad that originally our ad said, if you need hotel rooms, book them here. Pretty loose, pretty generic, pretty flat. But we changed our ads to say, want a $200 hotel room for $60? We got it. We got you. We can get you a hotel room at that level of discount. So figure out what question you are the answer to and shape your brand around that. Now, the reason that your brand goes viral is, and I'm going to talk about your brand asset in a minute, is that you shape those words, right? This was his ad. That was the whole ad. 3 words, absolutely, positively, overnight. That's all he had to say. And so the way the brand takes off, this is the experiment, by the way. The experiment is these 2 people work for a hotel. And one of them is sitting there saying, man, I'm so frustrated. And he says, is there no way to get rid of all these empty, the boss is on my case. We never sell all our rooms. Is there no way to get rid of these empty hotel rooms? And he says, wait a minute, get rid of empty hotel rooms? Wait a minute, absolutely, positively, overnight? I've heard that before. That's a company called Priceline. You should call them. That's what happened to us. That's what happened to him. That's what happens to all the brands that answer a specific question, because the reason it doesn't cost me marketing dollars is because the message gets out. And somebody says, isn't absolutely, positively, overnight, isn't that FedEx? I don't even know what FedEx is, but I'm going to tell him to look it up because I identify them. So we started pushing out name your own price. And people were saying, man, I wish I could get a hotel room. I only have $60. That's my price. I wish I could get a room for only $60. And people started saying, wait, you want to get one for your price? Isn't that Priceline? Because they heard the name your own price. So your brand answers the question that everybody's asking. And now you start to go inbound, because people just hear about it. Isn't that the name your own price company? Isn't that the positively overnight company? Your message is the answer to the question. There's more to shaping that message. So your brand is making a promise. This is going to be your next homework assignment. Your brand is making a promise to people, right? FedEx's promise was it will absolutely, positively be delivered tomorrow night. Our promise was we'll get rid of your empty hotel rooms. Our consumer promise is we'll get you a room at spring break for $60, not $200. Your brand has to make a promise that delivers the answer to that question. Excuse me. The homework assignment I have for you guys is this. If I were to ask you to give me one and only one reason that I should buy your product, that I should do business with you, that I should hire you, you can only tell me one reason. What would it be? Because let me explain something. The human intuition is to talk me into buying something. The way you talk me into buying something is telling me everything about it. It's fast and it's easy to use and you'll like the colors. And the more you tell me, what you're thinking is, the more stuff I say, the more likely he is to buy. So your intuition is to keep loading stuff on me and telling me how great it is. But millions and millions of dollars have been spent studying to determine a reality that a lot of marketers don't realize. The reality is that when you make a purchase decision, it turns out there was one, I'm going to give you examples. There was one real reason, one thing made you pick that product over the other ones. That one thing is your brand asset. By the way, that's just a term I made up. Brand asset's not a thing out there. It's just my term for explaining it. So I would love you guys to think about that. That if you could only give me one reason to hire you or to buy your product, what would that one reason be? You have to get rid of all the other things you're marketing and tell me the one most important reason that I should do business with you. That thing is your brand asset. So I'm going to give you some examples. because I was blessed enough to spend time with Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. And Sam pointed something out to me. You have never seen an advertisement that says you won't believe the high quality of the products at Walmart. Never in your life have you seen that. Guess what else you've never seen? You've never seen a sign, an advertisement that says our customer service is amazing at Walmart. You only see one thing. Their brand asset is lower prices. That's the only thing they promise because it's the real reason you came in. Not 5 things. And so I'm walking through Walmart and I see an employee standing in the aisle in the blue apron. And she's on her phone. And this woman is walking towards me and she goes, "Oh," and she goes over to the employee and she says, "Excuse me, miss, can you help me with something?" The Walmart employee doesn't even look up right away. She finishes like this and she says, "Can you not see that I'm texting?" And she walks off. And the woman's like that. And I said, "Ma'am, can I ask you something?" She said, "What?" And I said, "Did you actually think a Walmart employee was going to help you with your purchase?" And she said, "No, I've never even seen one in the aisle before." I said, "Then why do you go to Walmart?" And she said, "Because I need light bulbs and they're cheaper here than anywhere else." So you know what? People make fun of the experience at Walmart, but they keep going. You went there for one reason. They only promised you one thing. Our stuff is cheap. That's why you go to Walmart. Okay? Now I'll give you the opposite example of that because I got to spend time with the Nordstrom family. Do you all know this store? So I am walking in a Nordstrom's. It was my sister's birthday. I'm going to buy her a sweater. I'm in the women's department. I find myself singing a song that I hate. And I'm like, why am I singing this? I hate this song, right? So I start thinking, how did it even get in my head? You know how it got in my head? I turned around, and in the middle of women's clothing at Nordstrom's, there was a guy in a tuxedo with white gloves playing the piano, playing that horrible song. So I turned around, I was like, man, there's a piano player in the middle of women's clothing in a tux and white gloves. So I walked back over and I say, "Excuse me," and he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Question," and he said, "What?" And I said, "Who is paying you to sit in the middle of a department store and play bad songs," right? And he smiled and he pointed and he said, "That sweater you're holding is paying me." And then I looked at the price and I was like, "Dude, I'm not buying the store. I just want to buy a sweater." And he said, "That's funny because you knew you walked into Nordstrom's." He said, "You already knew you could probably get the same sweater way cheaper somewhere else. So why did you come to Nordstrom's?" You know why I came to Nordstrom's? Partly because there's a piano player, the experience. But you know what the real reason was? There were 2, not 0 like Walmart, 2 girls came up to me in women's clothing and said, "What can we help you with today?" And I said, "I'm trying to find something for my sister's birthday." And they said, "We're going to ask you questions about your sister, and then we're going to help you find a gift we think she would like." And I was like, okay, that's what I'm paying for. I paid extra because 2 people helped me pick a gift for my sister. Why did I go to Nordstrom's? It wasn't for the price. Those companies know what their brand asset is. You have to figure out yours. That one reason. I got pardon? She liked it a lot, yeah. She saw the Nordstrom tag, though. This was funny. And she said, "I've actually seen this same sweater for half that price." Like, just shut up and take the sweater, right? I do not need to hear that now. So your brand asset, let me see if, yeah, okay. Your brand asset, this is the one most important reason anyone should do business with you. It needs to be 3 things, okay? It needs to be distinguishing. When somebody says, when I ask you, what's the one real reason I should do business with you? At Nordstrom, the experience, the service is distinguishing. At Walmart, the price is distinguishing. Okay, what's the thing that separates you the most from all of your competitors? What stands out about you the most? I'm about to give you a real example. Second, it needs to be memorable, absolutely positively overnight, so that when he says, "How do I get rid of these," or the other document, when he said, "How do I absolutely positively get this thing there overnight?" he said, "Wait a minute, I've heard those words before." It needs to be distinguishing and memorable so that people start repeating it. People were coming up to us and saying, "Aren't you guys the name your own price company?" Because they kept hearing name your own price out there in the market. And last, it needs to be powerful. It needs to be the thing that people care about. So now I'm going to give you a real example of all 3 of those. I'm going to give you a fun homework assignment. All of you that have a business, I want you to send a message to 10 people that already bought your product, not in the sales process. 10 people that have already done business with you, and I want you to ask them the question I asked you. What's the one? Make sure you tell them they can only give you one reason. What's the real reason you hired me? What's the real reason you bought my product? What's the real reason you signed up for my service? And here's what happens. I do this all over the world. 8 out of 10 people are going to tell you the same thing. That answer is your brand asset. But 9 out of 10 times, it's not even what you were marketing. I look at your marketing and I was like, everyone bought your product for this, but you're marketing that. Let me give you a real example of what that looks like. But do this exercise. Ask people, ask 10 people at least, what's the real reason? Why'd you do business with me? And they will tell you, and that thing is your brand asset, and it's probably not what you're marketing, and it should be the only thing. I'm not telling you can't tell them the other 4 things about you. I'm telling them that you lead with your most distinguishing and memorable and powerful thing. Here's what it looks like. This manufacturing company calls me. First of all, they had 4 different products. One of their products was a television mount. So that's how you mount your TV onto the wall, right? When you want to hang your flat screen TV in your flat, your dorm room, whatever. So he made 3 or 4 different products out of metal. And that was the product. So he was selling this product on the website, okay? And he was trying to get into Walmart and to Target stores. So I was helping him. So we went to Walmart, and Walmart said, we already have like 10 different TV mounts. We're not interested. We don't want it. Walmart rejected us. We went to Target stores, Walmart's competitor, and they said, yeah, we'll try them. Yeah, we'll take some. So he was all excited. I've been selling only on my website, and now my TV mounts it's in Target stores, and my business is going to take off and go crazy. He called me sometime later, months, and he said, Jeff, it didn't happen. I said, what? And he said, I'm in Target, and my sales aren't going up. So I said, let me see your marketing. So his marketing is what I told you guys before, that intuitively is what you will try to do. Your marketing is, he's trying to talk you into buying it. So on his marketing, on his website, it says our TV mounts are easy to assemble. They're lightweight. They fold up when not in use. They're competitively priced, and they're made out of the same steel as aircraft. Okay? And he said that, I'm giving you 5 reasons to buy it. And so I looked on his website, and then I looked at all the flyers and emails. Everything he sent out said, buy my TV mount because it's easy to assemble, it's lightweight, it folds up when not in use, it's competitively priced, and it's made out of aircraft steel. So I said, okay, we can't text 10 customers like I told you to because they're in Target. So I said, we're going to go spend the day in Target. And if you have a product and a way you can do this, I used to go to grocery stores and change into jeans and not tell anyone I was the CEO or anything and talk to them about travel, right? If I was wearing a Booking.com or a Priceline shirt, they're just, it's a sales guy. I used to just wander around a grocery store, pretend I was shopping, and talk to people about travel. So we did that. I said, we're going to go spend the day at Target, as many hours as it takes. So we stood at Target, and we watched people walk up, and they would look at the TV mounts, and they'd pick one, okay? Each time someone picked his, right? They would look at the package that said easy to assemble, lightweight, folds up when not in use, competitively priced, and made of aircraft steel. And then they would pick his, and they would nod, and I'd say, oh, excuse me. And people would say, what? And I say, I'm shopping for a mount for my TV too. And I'm wondering why you chose this one. And I kid you not, despite the fact that all those words were on the package, 10 out of 10 people looked at the package and said, I don't know what the hell aircraft steel is, but I want that. 10 out of 10 people. Now, listen to something important. He had done surveys, SurveyMonkey. And when he sent surveys out, you know what people said was the single most important thing? Price. And yet in the store, nobody bought the cheapest one. What people said was, they were like, I don't even know what aircraft steel is, but if it's good enough for a plane, it's good enough for my TV. And I said, but you know, what I was saying was, but on surveys, didn't you say price was most important? And they're like, dude, I said that on the survey, but I don't want my TV to fall. It's the most expensive thing in my apartment. I will spend the extra money on the aircraft steel. So when you survey people, you get survey behavior. On a survey, people want to sound smart. And one time I had a huge realization in surveys. My team was using a focus group company. So people were in the room, in the conference room where they come to get paid $20 to fill out a survey, and we're behind the glass window that they can't see us. And I went out and I changed into jeans and tennis shoes and a t-shirt, and my employees are all looking at me, what the hell are you doing? And I went in the room, and I said, hey, is this where you get $20? And they're like, yeah, grab a chair. So I sat down, I said, what do we got to do? They did not know I was the CEO of the company. And they said, you have to answer these 10 questions. I said, cool, for $20, I'll do that. So I started answering, and one of the people in the room said, question 6 is stupid. And the other people said, yeah, I didn't answer it, it's so stupid. And people said, question 6 doesn't even make sense, it's irrelevant. And then one guy said, hey, if you don't answer them all, you don't get the $20. And they said, we'll just put something random for question 6. My entire belief in surveys ended right there. Because they were right? The most important information was nobody cares about number 6. But when you survey people, they exhibit survey behavior and you get false info. When you stand in the store and say, why did you buy that? 10 out of 10 people said, I don't know what aircraft steel is, but I want that. So guess what we did? We took the package, we rewrote it in giant letters. On the sideways, it said, the only TV mount made from aircraft steel, and we sold the hell out of these. And my favorite part of the story is that a little while later, probably 2 months later, the same guy calls me and he says, can you get on this call really quick? So I jump into a Zoom, I don't even know who's on it, and it's Walmart's procurement department. And I said, oh, I remember you guys, you rejected us. And he said, yeah, well, we need to talk. And I said, what's up? And he said, everybody's walking into Walmart saying, do you have that thing that's made out of aircraft steel? And he said, we'd like to place a giant order. That is why you have a brand asset. You have the one real reason people are buying your product. Walmart's low prices, Nordstrom is white glove service, and you ride that horse. I am not telling you that you cannot say these things. I'm telling you they're on page 2. We sold the hell out of these by calling them the only TV mount made of aircraft steel. But if you're even sort of uncertain, on the back it says also easy to assemble, lightweight. It's on there, but that's not what we sell with. We drove the hell out of this by our brand asset, our most distinguishing, memorable, powerful thing about us. At Priceline, it was the reverse auction. We are the name your own price company. Nobody else lets you set the price of a hotel room. That's how we grew to millions of consumers, not by saying we also sell hotel rooms like every other website, right? We said this is the only place you get to name your price and make a bid on a hotel room. That's how we grew the company. Find your aircraft steel. What's kind of cool for me is people around the world will call me and they say, we just found our aircraft steel. And other people that have heard this actually know what they're talking about. They say, we figured it out, this is our aircraft steel, and your sales will accelerate when you know what that is. Last piece I want to cover, I think, for today. Oh, I put this up. Do you guys know this company? This Jimmy John's here. I just thought it was interesting because I was sitting with Jimmy John, with the owner of this, the founder, and the guy was telling me, he said to me, he had just seen me give this talk. And he said, interesting, because that's how we grew. I said, how? He said, there's nothing in my ads that say that our sandwiches taste good. And he said, there's nothing in our ads that say that our sandwiches have high nutritional value. He said, our whole aircraft steel is that we're the fastest delivery. If you haven't seen their commercial, a person gets on the phone and he's saying, I'll have the turkey club with no lettuce, and then his doorbell rings, ding dong, and he looks at the phone and the guy's holding a sandwich and he's still on the phone. And then the screen just comes up and it says freaky fast. So he said, I built my company because if you're hungry now, we're the fastest delivery ever. And he said, I never even mentioned the taste of the sandwich or the nutrition. I just built mine around one thing. We're the fastest delivery of any sandwich anywhere. So if you know their brand, that's how they got there. They bet on the one horse in the race. So the last part I want to tell you about is your brand personality. And let me explain what a brand personality is. In all this studying of companies, I started to notice that the world's most loved and favored companies have a personality. I'm going to tell you an experiment that I did to prove this. You all know Ben & Jerry's ice cream, right? I wish I hadn't said that because now I want some. Now I can't stop thinking about Ben & Jerry's. This is bad. I went to visit them because they wanted to talk to me about branding stuff and marketing stuff. And I was at their offices, their headquarters. And when I came back, I was doing an experiment about company personality. So I gave 5 people in the front row in an audience a sheet of paper. On the sheet of paper was a quote that somebody said. What was not on the sheet of the paper was any industry, any products, or any names. And I just put a quote. And I handed it to 5 people and I said, who said that? And they all said, I don't know. It doesn't say any names. It doesn't say any companies or products. How would we know? And I said, take a wild guess. Who said that? 4 of the people said Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I said, it was. I said, how would you know that? And they said, it sounds like something those people would say. That is brand personality perfection. And then I asked them, what do the offices of Ben & Jerry's look like? Everybody said, we don't know, we've never been there. I said, what do you think they look like? And they said, we've never been there. I said, take a guess. And they said, well, people are wearing like lumberjack shirts and they have hiking boots on and their meetings are outside at a picnic table. I said, I literally just came from a meeting outside at a picnic table with Ben & Jerry's executives who were wearing hiking boots. How did you know that? And they said, it just feels like what they would do at Ben & Jerry's. That is personality brilliance. That draws people to you. How do you build a brand personality? And I'll give you an example, though. It's important. When you create a brand personality, it has to become a way of life. Your whole company, Ben & Jerry's really lives like that. When you go up there, it looks like you thought it was going to look. The people dress like you thought they were going to dress. They talk like you thought they were going to talk. That's amazing. In the same way, you know when you go to an Apple store and they have those Apple geniuses that have a little thing around their neck and they wear the black shirt? If I went up to my friends and said, oh, I just got a job at the Apple store as an Apple genius, they would start laughing. And I would say, why is that funny? Like, dude, you're not one of those people, right? You sort of know what kind of nerdy, you know what, if a friend of yours said they worked at the Apple store, you would say, no, you don't, because you know what kind of people work at the Apple store. In the same way, Googler is a noun, a person that works at Googler. There are movies about working at Google. You've never been there, but you know that they have slides instead of staircases in their office and toys to play with. Their personality is their way of life. The best companies do that. And your brand voice is the voice your company always speaks. Every customer contact. So I know probably a lot of people have seen, it's based on where you're from, a booking commercial, but how many of you have seen a Priceline.com commercial? Because we have Captain Kirk from the TV show Star Trek as our spokesperson. And what people ask is, why Captain Kirk? And the answer is, because he fits our personality. So the drill that I'm going to give you, the last homework assignment for the day, I was just explaining that you probably already knew that Google looked like that without ever going there, right? Because their brand is so strong with Google. So here's the exercise we did, that I do with every company. Call your team together. I challenge you to do this. And ask your group, say, if our company was a person, who would she be? Describe her. The exercise of describing your company as a person will reveal your brand personality. So the exercise that we did was we started talking about the fact that we are a high-tech, we were writing these things down, describing us. We said, well, first of all, our company is not young. Well, you know what? I'm going to do the better example instead. I'm going to do Richard. So, by the way, I've asked people without this picture, have you ever heard the quote, screw it, let's do it? And some people said no. And the ones that said no, I said, name a CEO you think might have said that? A lot of people said Richard Branson. Okay, but he is the one that taught me about brand personality. And let me explain. Richard and I were doing an event like this. We were the speakers. And after we were done, they said, can we do a photo shoot, Jeff, with you and Mr. Branson? I said, sure. And so we were waiting inside a building like this. And Richard suddenly turns to me and he goes, let's go outside. I said, well, the sun's really bright and it's windy. And he said, yes, exactly, let's go outside. And so we went outside and the photographer said, well, Mr. Branson, if you want to shoot outside, we need to bring different lighting equipment. So give us a few minutes. So we're standing there and his long white hair is blowing in his face. So I said jokingly, why don't you cut your hair? And he said, I can't. I said, why not? He said, it's the brand. And I said, really? And this is what Branson told me. He said, every time that you see me, he said, you start to notice something. My hair will always be long and flowing and white. He said, I will always have a suntan. He said, I will never, this is amazing, guys, it's brilliance. He said, I never button my shirt all the way up. And he said, the reason why is it looks like I grabbed a shirt and came straight from the beach to this press conference, right? He said, sometimes I wear a shell necklace so that subconsciously you're thinking he must have just been on the beach, right? He told me another thing. He said, the reason I want to stand outside is because I want it to look like the warm Caribbean breeze blowing through my hair, right? And he said one more thing, and I love this now. I can't help it since he told me that. He said, a lot of times, if you look at pictures of me, I am not looking at the camera like everyone else. He said, I'm gazing up into the warm Caribbean sun because I'm on the island and you're not. And so he said, his whole thing, he said, Jeff, why do you think I named it Virgin? He said, because it's edgy. He said, made it virgin because some people are uncomfortable with that word. He said, it's edgy, it's out there, it's fun. It's a little dangerous. He said, I know it's time to do this press conference, but I just ran in from the beach. My hair's all over, right? My shirt's not buttoned all the way. That's the brand. And so I decided to test how well that works. So I want you guys, next time you see pictures of him, a lot of times you're going to see that, and he does it on purpose because the guy's brilliant. So I did an experiment, like I told you guys. I had a piece of paper that I gave to the first 5 people. And on the piece of paper was 2 flights. They were both New York, London. They both left at the same time and arrived at the same time. No difference between the flights, except the Virgin Atlantic flight was really expensive and the American airline ones was way less. And I said to 5 people, it's your money. Same arrival and departure time, but different price. I didn't even mention the price. I said, circle the flight you want to spend your money on. They all handed it back to me. In front of the audience, I said, everybody picked Virgin Atlantic. I said, the Virgin Atlantic flight is more expensive. Why did you pick that? And they all said, it just sounds like it's way more fun. And I said, Branson doesn't fly on every flight. He's not actually going with you. And they said, I know, but it just sounds like more fun. Because his brand is, it's a party on the beach, don't you wish you were here? Actually, we do. We do wish we were there. And so I recently took a Virgin Atlantic flight. Last time I went connected in London. Have you guys been on it? Do you know what's on it? A bar in the middle of the plane. There's a bar, and you know what's around the bar? Simulated sand and a little beach thing. It is more fun, okay? It is. You do actually feel like on an American flight, I'm on a business trip. On a Virgin Atlantic flight, you go sit at the bar, everybody's already starting to party. So his brand personality is brilliant. Everything Virgin does has the, it's a party in the islands, don't you wish you were here, theme to it. And everything they create, they make sure it feels that way. For our company, ours was, our brand personality was, we are not young. So this is the exercise you're going to do. To make a person out of your company. So we started this and we said, well, we can't be young because a 19-year-old hasn't seen the world. I'm not getting travel advice from a 19-year-old. I'm getting travel advice from a 50-year-old seasoned traveler. So we said we're older, right? And then we said that have traveled a lot. We've traveled the whole world. And someone in our room said we've traveled the universe. So now we're an older person that traveled the universe. And then someone else, we're describing our personality, right? And someone else said, we're the leaders of our industry. We're industry leaders. So one of the people that was writing, he wrote captains of industry, right? And then somebody else said, we're very high tech, right? We build sophisticated algorithms. So as a joke, he wrote space age technology. And then the last thing he wrote, I mean, I think you guys have at least seen a little bit of me. I can only be serious for so long. I get in trouble a lot because people are like, are you ever serious? I'm serious when I have to be. When I don't have to be, life is short and you might as well enjoy it, right? So I think without a sense of humor, why are you even living anymore? But some people don't like that. But I said, we're going to own that. So we put on there that we have a cheesy sense of humor. And so when we wrote up there, we were a space-age captain with a sense of humor who travels around the universe. And then somebody wrote something funny in our group. Somebody said, we're that nerd guy that somehow wound up with the hot girl. And everybody started laughing. You see the nerd guy and you're like, how did he wind up with a pretty girl? He's a nerd, right? So that was the joke in our room when we wrote that down. Thank you for looking at her. You just made my day. When somebody wrote that down, somebody else said, I know you all don't know this character, but somebody in the room stood up and said, oh my God, we are Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. So our TV commercials are done by Captain Kirk from the TV show Star Trek, because that's exactly our personality. So when we write an email, you know what we'll say to each other? Would Captain Kirk actually say that? Does he use words like that? When we do an ad on TV, does Captain Kirk use words like that? Your personality of your brand guides all of your communications in the world, and it creates an identity for your company that people know who you are, and they're drawn to it. It's the law of attraction. It works for Virgin. If you like the good life and you want to party, you want to be part of Virgin and you want to fly his airline, right? If you're just a boring business person that just wants to get there for the cheapest dollar, that's not his customer. So the last piece was create a brand personality. So I'm just going to summarize real quick. Oh, I want to end with that for you guys. I forgot that I put that in here. But that might be one of the most important things I can share. Everybody out there in the world, when you grow your company, is focused. Everyone's talking about money all the time, about trying to get rich and about trying to make money. And I want to tell you something. When startups, frequently, all the investors are saying, what's your exit strategy? And you know what I'm sitting there thinking? What's your entrance strategy, guys? What are you exiting, a PowerPoint? I've seen people that have a PowerPoint and they're already looking at new cars. I was like, dude, maybe you should build a company before you start shopping for cars. Exit strategy doesn't matter. Entrance strategy does. Because until and unless you build something amazing in the world, you're not going to get paid anyway. So have an excellent strategy. In all of our companies, all I told my team forever is, I don't want to hear the words exit strategy. I want to hear the word excellence. Let's build something incredible and we'll never have to worry about an exit strategy. Booking.com, that company never had an exit strategy because it generates billions of dollars a year in profits for its shareholders. Why would you ever need to sell that company? My very first company, when you guys go to the airport and you know the kiosk that you check in, that was my first invention. You used to have to wait in line and a person had to give you a boarding card, and I missed a flight one day and I went home and designed these kiosks. And today they're in every airport in the world, but every day I told my team, I don't want to hear anything but how we're going to build an excellent product and excellent service. I said, just focus hands down on creating something amazing and we'll never have to worry about getting paid. And in fact, the airlines all over the world love the product. And then I actually sold the same company twice. I sold two halves of it. But focus, chase excellence, not money. The money will show up if you do that. We are out of time. Thank you guys so much for coming and spending this time today. Appreciate it. And go do your homework. Go do those things. Actually follow through and do those things. I'd love to hear some of the results. Thanks.